Welcome to today's lesson of Allegro Teach. In this lesson, we look at three important parts of system software: utility programs, drivers, and software updates. These help the operating system to manage the computer, keep it running smoothly, and fix problems in programs. Please note that this video is heavy with content knowledge and definitions and concepts that you need to learn and know off by heart, so do take a break if necessary. And please subscribe if you have the time. Thank you. We have looked at utility programs in a previous video, but let's revise again. So, utility programs are small system programs that perform maintenance and housekeeping tasks on a computing device. They help to keep the system running efficiently, protected, and manage files and storage. Examples of utilities include disk cleanup, disk defragmentation or optimization, backup tools, antivirus software, and compression tools used to zip files. They usually work together with the operating system as part of system software. Utility programs can be grouped into different types. Some focus on files and disks, like disk cleanup, defragmentation, or optimization tools, error checking, and compression. Others are security utilities, such as antivirus and anti-spyware programs. There are backup utilities that make copies of your data and restore it later. Finally, there are many other utilities, like task scheduler, task manager, and system information tools. You don't need to memorize every brand by name, but you must recognize the common tasks that they perform. Disk cleanup is a utility that finds and removes unnecessary files from your hard drive. These include temporary files, items in the recycle bin, and other files that are no longer needed. By deleting them, you free up disk space and can slightly improve performance, especially if the disk is almost full. This can also happen on your phone when you remove your cache files, when your storage space becomes too small. And in the exams, if you are asked which utility removes unwanted files or creates more space on your disk, you can always say disk cleanup. On a traditional hard disk drive or HDD, files can become fragmented, which means it's stored in pieces all over the disk. A defragmentation or optimization utility reorganizes these pieces so that each file is stored in one continuous block, or as close as possible. This can improve performance because the drive's read head moves less. It is important to know that defragmenting does not significantly create extra free space on the disk, and it mostly improves access speed. And on SSDs, this is not necessary and can even add to wear and tear. Now, compression utilities are used to make files or folders smaller so they take up less storage space. When you zip a folder, the utility compresses the contents and often saves them as a .zip file. This is useful when your storage is limited or when you want to send a large group of files as a single, smaller email attachment. Compression can also be used as an extra security layer when you add a password to the zip file. Backup utilities are used to make copies of important data so that it can be restored if the original is lost or damaged. They often allow you to schedule automatic backups to an external hard drive or a cloud service. This is critical protection if something happens like hardware failure, theft, accidental deletion, and malware. Exams often ask for reasons to make backups or for examples of where backup should be stored, usually on an external device or in another location, definitely not on the computing device itself or close to it. When asked about automatic backups, this makes it more convenient and also allows a person to make the backups and not forget about it. It can also be scheduled at a time when it's more convenient when the computer is not in use, let's say for instance overnight. Security utilities like antivirus and anti-malware programs help to detect, block, and remove malicious software such as viruses, worms, spyware, ransomware, and trojans. They scan files and memory for known patterns and suspicious behavior. Because new threats appear all the time, these utilities must be updated regularly so that they know about the latest malware. Exams might ask why anti-malware software needs frequent updates, and the answer is simple: because new threats appear constantly and old definitions quickly become outdated. A computing device infected by malicious software can also decrease your computer's performance. In other words, slow it down, and can also decrease storage space. That's how you know that it's possible that you've had a malware infection. A driver is a small piece of system software that allows the operating system to communicate with specific hardware devices. Without the correct driver, the OS may not be able to use the device properly or at all. Examples include printer drivers, graphic card drivers, sound card drivers, and network card drivers. In question 4, if you see that a device is not working, even though it is connected, one typical cause is a missing, faulty, or outdated driver. Many modern devices are plug and play, which means that when you plug them in, the operating system automatically detects them and installs a suitable driver. Sometimes the driver comes from the OS itself, and sometimes it is downloaded from the internet. In other cases, you may need to install drivers manually from a CD, flash drive, or website. If a plug-and-play device does not work, troubleshooting steps include checking the cable, trying another port, and updating or reinstalling the driver. A software bug is an error or a fault in a program that causes it to behave incorrectly, crash, or create security vulnerabilities. Developers try to reduce bugs through testing, but some are only discovered later. To fix them, they release patches. To fix one bug, or if there's multiple bugs, they provide a service pack. As a user, you can often get rid of a software bug by installing the latest updates or patches for the program or operating system. Question paper often asks, how can a user fix a software bug? A typical answer: install a patch, update, or a service pack. Any of those three. Software updates are important for several reasons. They can fix bugs and errors, close security vulnerabilities, add new features, and improve performance or compatibility with hardware and software. In question 4, we might ask you to give 2 advantages of updating an operating system or program. Good answers would include better security, fixed errors, and new or improved features. Please note that update is not the same as upgrade, and we will look at that later in another lesson. To be thorough, let's look at the risks of flawed software. Flawed software or faulty software is usually software with bugs that have not been fixed yet. Risks of flawed software include security vulnerabilities that attackers can use, data loss or corruption, system crashes and instability, or compatibility issues with other software and hardware. When you see a question like state 2 risks of using flawed software, choose any 2 of these. So, almost at the end of the lesson and time to complete the summary. Remember, it's best to do from memory without looking at your notes, and it should help you to prepare just before an exam. The bullets that I would have listed is utility programs, disk cleanup versus defrag, compression utilities, drivers and plug and play, Updates, patches, service packs, and flawed software. In one sentence or in a few sentences, I would summarize: utility programs maintain and protect the computer by cleaning up files, optimizing disks, backing up data, and scanning for malware, while drivers allow the operating system to communicate with hardware devices. Updates and patches fixes bugs, improves security, and adds new features, reducing the risk of flawed software. Thank you for joining me for this video, and be on the lookout for the next video where we look at system technologies, different software categories, licensing, and web apps. And please like, comment, and share. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.